Let's start part 2 of the digestive system lesson. I told you about the mouth and the 3 parts inside the mouth, which are the teeth, salivary glands, and the tongue. This part we will start with the pharynx. The pharynx is this part behind your mouth. It's a common cavity or opening that's between the esophagus and the trachea. The esophagus is an organ in the digestive system, but the trachea is an organ in the respiratory system. So, the pharynx is common between the digestive system and the respiratory system. The esophagus is a tube of muscles that connect your mouth with your stomach. This tube is called the esophagus. The digestive system is called the stomach. The stomach is a sac or bag made up of muscles. It mixes the food with its digestive juices or digestive enzymes inside that stomach. The stomach contains gastric juices. What is the function of the gastric juice? It digests proteins partially. Partially means incomplete digestion of proteins. What goes to the small intestine? I said before that the small intestine is 7 meters long and it is coiled inside the abdominal cavity. The small intestine is divided into 2 parts. The first part is called the duodenum and the second part is called the ileum. The duodenum is the first part here and the ileum is the second part. Before, this is our digestive system. The food enters the mouth, then the pharynx, which is common between the digestive and the respiratory system, then the esophagus, that is the muscular tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach, then the food goes to the stomach and the small intestine then. Then the food goes up to the large intestine. And inside the small intestine. I said before that the small intestine is divided into 2 parts. The first part is called duodenum and the second part is called ileum. Inside the duodenum, there are 2 juices. The bile juice that's secreted by the liver and the pancreatic juice that's secreted by the pancreas. Both of these juices are poured inside the duodenum. The food goes to the ileum part. It's the second part of the small intestine. It will find a juice that's called intestinal juice. It's secreted by the small intestine itself. So the intestinal juice is inside the ileum of the small intestine. Inside the ileum, the food will completely digest it. So the complex form of any type of food now is a simple form. So my body now can get a benefit from the food. Also, after the food gets to its simple form, it's absorbed from the small intestine to the blood. What is the meaning of absorption? We will see now. Means transportation of the digested food from the small intestine to the blood, which gives it to all the body parts. As I said before, the blood is a transporter. So, absorption means the transportation of the digested food from the small intestine to the blood. This is called absorption process. The remains of our food is going to the large intestine. The large intestine started from the ileum and ends with the anus opening. What happens inside the large intestine? Water is absorbed from the rectum and the wastes come out through the anus as stool, of course. Now we will
In digestion, food is changed by the organs into a soluble form to be absorbed by the body. Food in the mouth is mixed with saliva. Saliva begins to dissolve the food as the teeth grind and cut it. Food is forced back into the throat, pharynx, by the tongue. Food in the pharynx stimulates the swallowing reflex. The larynx is pulled upward to meet the epiglottis and seal off the trachea. Food goes from the pharynx to the esophagus. Food moves down the esophagus by peristalsis. The peristaltic wave reaches the esophageal sphincter and food enters the stomach. The unique muscular structure of the stomach breaks up the food into small pieces called chyme. Chyme exits through the pyloric sphincter into the duodenum of the small intestine. The major portion of absorption and digestion occurs in the small intestine. The mucosa secrete enzymes that supplement the digestive enzymes of the pancreas and liver. This completes the chemical process of digestion. The walls are covered with villi where nutrient absorption takes place. The structure of each villus contains a capillary and lacteal to pick up the digested nutrients. The nutrients are now transported by the blood to all the cells of the body. The undigested food reaches the ileocecal valve and enters the large intestine or colon. The colon absorbs water, manufactures vitamins, produces mucus, and forms and expels feces. Mass peristalsis pushes the feces into the rectum, which stimulates the defecation reflex.
Now we will talk about the digestive canal supplementaries. As I said before, we have 3 digestive canal supplementaries. Number 1, the salivary glands. 2, pancreas. 3, liver. The organs that the food doesn't enter. The salivary glands, they are 3 pairs as I said before. The salivary glands secrete saliva which contain digestive enzymes which digest starch, only starch, into sugar inside the mouth. Liver. The liver secretes the bile juice. And I said before, there are 2 juices that board inside the duodenum. One of them is the bile juice that's secreted by the liver. The function of the bile juice is helping in digestion of food, mainly the fats. So, fats is digested by the bile juice into fatty emulsion. The oil is a kind of fat. It is changed into emulsion by the bile juice. Number 3 in the digestive canal supplementaries is the pancreas. Yes, this is the pancreas. It secretes the pancreatic juice and board the pancreatic juice inside the duodenum. The function of the pancreatic juice is helping in digestion of food. How to keep your digestive system healthy? Number 1, chew the food well before swallowing. 2, don't eat much food that contains large amounts of fats. 3, don't eat food that contains food additives. 4, don't buy food from street vendors to avoid getting diseases. And the last one, do exercise every day. You have to do exercise every day, even at home.